puff of snow there. Fortunately, he was not seriously injured.
No, but again, it begs the philosophical question. You know, do you stick with it if you're starting to not get on top of it, such as the Canadians did? They were doing so well in practice earlier this week, and then it just started to crumble on them. And they turned over in the finish curve yesterday, and then they finally withdrew today.
Well, back on the top, this is East Germany number 2, driven by Horst Schonau. 30 years of age. Last year he did not make the team. However, he was successful and is back again this year.
Well, he's got his work cut out because he and Scherer are having a heck of a battle here for the silver medal. A 484 start, a very good start. He's got the equipment advantage, but Scherer really, I think, is the best driver on the run. He won the two-man last week, and he's the only one that can challenge the East Germans. And of course, all the top 7 sleds in this competition now are German-speaking, but Scherer is unique in his own category. And Schono, in order to beat him, is going to have a very low 00, or maybe even have to get into a 59. At 32.57, he can do it. Here comes his Shady, and he's motoring it. There's no question he's got the speed, and if he has a good last half, it's going to be really touch and go whether he makes it or not.
And you mentioned the importance of the equipment here. Certainly they have the edge. A very much more stable sled than some in the competition here.
But you see, he's sliding around, but I don't know what there's lots of ice being cut, and when you cut ice, you're losing time, because any skids or tick, that's going to slow you down. The only thing you've got going for you is gravity. Here's his time.
1 minute 34, a very good time for Horst Schonau driving East Germany number 2. We'll have more from Mount Van Hovenberg in a few minutes. Back to you, Lloyd. That is exactly the situation, Lloyd. What we have now are the lower sleds going to try and improve their rankings because Meinhard Nehmer is now unbeatable. This is Great Britain number 1, driven by Roger Potter.
Good. Good.
Yes, well, here we go with GBR 1. If I could correct you there, Brian, that's Jonathan Woodall on the driver's seat, and he is the best driver of the British sled. He's a champion cresta rider, and they move right along. And he's been in about the middle of the pack, and we can only hope that he's going to get in the first 10 in this run. Earlier today, when I was walking the run in between commentary, Prince Michael of Kent, the president of the British Bobsleigh Association, an old bobsled driver himself, suggested that it was getting awfully tough for the have-not nations, those that do not have tracks to compete with these sleds from the German-speaking nations where they have so much ice time. And he suggested that maybe we should reactivate the Commonwealth Cup, such as we used to have in the old days, and it gave the sliders a bit more inspiration to keep going. Well, Great Britain is having a very good run down here. They're doing much better than they did yesterday. Had a nice high Shady, a nice G-drop out of there, and here comes the finish time, and it looks like a good one. And we can only hope that they'll come in a little bit faster than yesterday.
Well, it's not bad. 101.08 for Great Britain number 1. This is Romania number 1, driven by Constantin Iancu.
And the Romanians, they try hard too. They have a sled run to work with, 495, and so they can get their starts down, such as the German-speaking nations. But they're in the middle of the pack too. They get a good start. They slither around a little bit. The Romanians are good friends of the Canadians. My brother patched up one of them many years ago in St. Lawrence, and we even have a Romanian coach for the Canadian team at this point. And we can only hope that he also will get down into the top 10. And I think he's going to do it with this run. He's got a very, very good upper straight. And here he is coming into the final corner before Shady. 33.14 is about 6/10 behind the leaders. But in the middle of the pack, you can be that far behind and still be in here. There's not much to show between one and the other, really.
And we've been very fortunate here during the competition, Vic. Prior to competition, in practice, we had more than 70 accidents on this run. Some of the drivers claimed the track was not safe for 4-man sleds. But as it turned out, in the last couple of days, we've only had really 2 spills.
2 spills, and I think that's enough for 4-man, because when they spill, they really knock you about. There's 750 pounds of metal to crush you into the sidewalls, and that hurts.
And there we see the time for Romania number 1, 101.33. Back on top, this is Austria number 2, driven by Walter Delakarth, rated one of the top Austrian drivers, of course, 33 years of age. And an interesting point, his wife is in the crowd watching him today.
Well, it's always nice to have a little bit of partisan support. Delakarth is from an old bobbing family, and the Austrians have always been very good in 4-man. Here comes his start time, and he's hanging in 6th place right now, and he could move up. Let's see their start time.
Well, there it is, 4:92, a very, very good start time and all important in this sport.
The Austrians have been strong in the four-man particularly for the last 20 years. In fact, it was another Austrian team back in '64 that we had to beat up for the gold, and we had a good slugfest right to the finish. Delicart himself hasn't had any spectacular finishes yet, but he's motoring along quite nicely up here, and we can hope that he'll be in the top 6 or maybe even the top 5 or 4 today. And here comes the split time for the halfway, and at this point you're 32.87 into the run, and you're well over halfway down through, shady, and probably going at around 80-85 miles an hour. Remember that 4 minute for 4 miles means an average of 60 miles an hour from a standing start.
And here he goes, coming, approaching zigzag. Zigging right now, through to zag. Very good line through, and should have a pretty good time.
I guess this is going to be about the last sled we see. This is it for bobsledding. It's just a very exciting sport. I wish you could all be here with us.
And there's the time, 1:67 for Austria 2. We'll run down the scoreboard for you now. We have mentioned, of course, there is the gold to East Germany 1's. Swiss number 1 takes the silver. Gold to East Germany number 2. That's it from Mount Van Hovenberg. Back to you.
It's the interview that Kurt Gowdy had with a lady named Kay Jones, who has taken some of the most remarkable still pictures of bobsledding of anybody in the world, literally. She lives not far from the run, and, well, let's let Kurt and Kay Jones tell the story themselves.
These incredible bobsled photographs are the work of Lake Placid's Kay Jones. We've talked about this famous zigzag curve being infamous, and this lady's helped make it so with her tremendous action pictures that have been seen around the world. Kay, what do you think the best action picture you've ever taken?
I believe the Austrian upside-down sled. It was really unusual. It never happened again. I've never seen a sled take a complete flip before. And the boys got up and walked away. That was the best part.
Does it bother you when something happens here to the drivers and to their brakemen?
Oh, sure does. They're all like my kids.
What about this year? Any good pictures this year?
Oh, the Morgan brothers put on a show for me. All 4 of them spread right out on the ice. It really was a great shot.
We have a lot of camera buffs out there. Now, first of all, what kind of film are you using?
Usually I use Tri-X because I shoot for Associated Press.
So you're shooting in black and white?
Yes, right.
What's the shutter speed?
1,000.
It has to be with the way these sleds go by.
Sure it does.
And what kind of exposure?
Well, it varies greatly because of the days, and so that today it's a nice bright day, so it's not...
Have you been in photography all your life?
No, my husband was the photographer, and I sort of took over after he died.
And you only do bobsledding?
That's all. Don't touch a camera the rest of the year.
And what do you do in the summer?
Well, I have an antique shop.
From antiques to shooting high-speed sleds going by. Carl Eric Erickson, who was the oldest driver here in this 4-man bobsled event, run number 4, had his crash, lost his brakeman. I know he's checked on his brakeman. Is he all right, Carl?
He is all right, yes. All the crews is all right.
No serious injury?
No, not at all.
What happened on the crash?
I was a little late out on number 10, and I didn't hold the sled down in number 11, so I let him go, and it was not my fault.
Have you ever had any bad crashes, serious crashes before?
No, not at all.
But there's always the danger, and you know that.
Yes, I know that, but I don't think about that. I'm thinking to go down as fast as possible.
You must be quite a guy to be driving a bobsled at the age of 49 in the Olympic Games. Why do you do it?
I love this sport. I can't stop it.
It's like a disease with you.
Yes, it is, you know. It is a part of my life, you know. I have been driving bobsled 23 years.
You're a farmer in Sweden.
Yes, I am, in the near of Stockholm.
And where do you train for the bobsled? You don't have a run in Sweden.
No, we haven't. Normally, I have 800 miles to Winterberg in West Germany.
And what do you think about Niemer coming down under a minute twice?
Niemer is about what Monty was in 10 years ago. Marvelous.
Carl Eric Erickson, I think the oldest athlete in the Winter Olympic Games, driving a bobsled at the age of 49. Here are the final official results for the 4-man bobsled championships. Meinhard Niemer drove the East German sled number 1 to the gold medal and twice came down this track in less than a minute, the only man to ever do so at Lake Placid. The silver medal was won by Erich Scherer of Switzerland. He also had a gold in the two-man bobsled. Schonau of East Germany took the bronze in their number 2 sled. The best the Americans could do were 12th and 13th place finishes. And so from Mount Van Hovenberg, this is Kurt Gowdy saying goodbye for Paul Landry.
Competition is concerned for the United States. The crowd can hardly wait. You can almost feel it from here. Here come the pages who herald the arrival. We've just had the award to the bobsledders from East Germany who won today, and every team and every individual that's won an award here has been very, very well received by the American audience. There you see the flags for East Germany and for Switzerland. They won the medals in the bobsledding. So as the flags are rolled up, it won't be very long. Just be a matter of certainly a minute, maybe less than that, before the Americans come in. This is the team that won the gold.